Paul Porter. Special guests, prizes, and your phone calls about the Bucks, Lightning, Rays, USF, Sun, FSU, Florida, and more. Talk to you this Saturday at 9 a.m. right here on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Tune in Saturdays from 3 to 5 p.m. for Miss Sarah's Dynamic Gospel Power Show. That's 2 hours of great gospel music every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. All brought to you by the Ozona Pig Restaurant in Ozona. Yes, that's every Saturday from 3 to 5 p.m. It's Miss Sarah's Dynamic Gospel Power Show. Tune in on the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Hey, you new to the area or just want to know about the best hidden gems and upcoming events? Stay tuned. Be Local Buzz with Devin takes you to these places, introduces you to the best businesses, and tells you about upcoming buzz. Preset your radio to Tan Talk 1340 AM or 106.1 FM. That is the Be Local Buzz with Devin on Tan Talk 1340 AM and 106 FM. Looking forward to speaking with you.
It's the Be Local Buzz with Devin, Tuesdays from 4 to 5 p.m.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
It's now time for Connecting Caregivers with author, speaker, caregiver advocate, and talk show host Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for caregivers.
Caregivers around the world today, it's time to lift you up. It's time to celebrate. Good afternoon and welcome to Connecting Caregivers with me, Linda Burhan, the gal who cares for the caregivers with love, laughter, and lessons learned. And today we have Mr. Ed on the board. How are you?
Doing all right. A little chilly this morning.
Did you have a nice Thanksgiving?
Yes, we did.
Thanksgiving is a fabulous holiday because so many people love Thanksgiving.
Well, because it's secular. Everybody can enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's about
Except my
eating
nephew,
food, which is kind of fun. And with me is my best friend, my co-host, and my sidekick, not psychic, Lynn Thornley.
Good afternoon. Nice to be here.
It's great to be here. I had an exciting week this week. I had my LASIK eye surgery on my what do they call it? It's not LASIK. They call it cataract surgery on my left eye. And I was very bold. The day after I had my cataract surgery, I went on Fox News. My granddaughter drove me, thank you, God. But it was all good. And I'm very excited because people say, oh, the colors are going to be so wonderful. I love the colors already. I love the colors every single day. And if they're going to be more vibrant, I'm going to be like, what?
I didn't notice it. My sister did. I didn't notice it at all.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I love all the
All I
colors.
said today when I got in the car, Linda picked me up. I went, oh, I forgot my mask. She goes, why? I said, because you had cataract surgery. I'm covering up. Because when she got it done, I went, you have a hair on your chin.
Yeah. She said cataract surgery done. We're driving to the show and she goes, you know, you have a hair over here. I said, don't even look at me. So in a few days, I might get even.
Yeah, well, no, I'm wearing masks around you.
So the first thing I want to do is I want to give a shout out to our newest listeners. We have Chris in Clearwater, Allison in Largo, and Annie in Seminole.
Welcome, ladies.
Like I always say, welcome to the Connecting Caregivers table, whether you listen to us when we're live on AM, FM, or on YouTube, or on Facebook, or wherever you take us. We're just here to help you find help and hope, because we know that your caregiving journey isn't easy, but we can help you find the joy in the journey. We can help you find the resources. We can help you find the support. We can help you find the education, and we can help you find a couple of laughs. So we're so glad that you're here today. And so my guest today is Dr. David Bernstein. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you for having me back, Linda.
You've been on the show a couple of times.
If a couple means two, I've been here more than that.
I have to tell you, I remember the first time I met you in person was in Bayshore in Naples. And you were speaking, that was when the driving book came out.
Yeah.
About driving.
Yeah.
How many books do you have now?
I think I'm about to publish my sixth.
Sixth?
Yeah, sixth. Today. Yeah. Today's the day it gets published. I push the button and it prints today.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And it's all different probably from the journey of the first book to the sixth book.
Yes and no. But, you know, in the last year or two, I've been reading about happiness and joy. we set goals and achieve goals, and then we said, okay, what's the next goal? And
Yeah.
and you don't, we tend to fly past them. With the publication of a book and the pushing of that button, it's an exhilaration that lasts a long time.
Oh my goodness.
It's a very different feeling. It's because it's not what I trained to do as a doctor, but it's publishing, and it's like, wow.
When my
Don't forget
first
that.
book was printed, Lynn went with me to pick up the books at the printer. I was like, it was like, you have a book and it's here and you can share it with people.
Yeah, it's different, and it's an exhilarating feeling. It doesn't go away. It's a special thing.
But that's kind of fun about, as you get older, still being exhilarated,
True.
still challenging yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm doing that Jokes to Josie Jones stuff, and my kids are like, 72 years old, you're going to do stand-up comedy? Why the heck not?
Yeah, age is a
Let me
number.
try.
It doesn't mean anything.
Exactly.
You do anything you want at any time.
All right, so let's talk about the new book.
Okay.
What prompted you to write this one?
Well, it depends how far you want to go back. But
It's up to you.
when I was 18 and I read about geriatrics and really longevity, it was really became a focus of my life. It was not only the medical part, but it was the other things that enhance people's lives. And a big part of it was prevention. Like,
Yeah.
what do you do to live long? And there's all these preventive measures. And so in the process of working on, as a geriatrician, it's, here are the preventive things. And what are some of the things you can do preventively with driving? We talked about that. And what are the things you can do about eating and exercise and dealing with stress? And then it was
Socializing.
Socializing is at the top. Thanks for reminding me. At the very top. And then it was like, what are the things that challenged me, not only in my life, but in my patients' lives? What was the thing? What did
you hear the most?
What do you see so much in the people you interact with is they get to a point of absolute chaos. They can't make any decisions. They're paralyzed.
And then they isolate.
Sure. And so that was one of the things that people who needed to move and didn't move, and they were paralyzed.
Yeah.
And as a selfish part of me was, don't let that come into my office and make me do that work.
Yeah.
You that was your homework. That was something you do in life. And it
But
wasn't
people didn't do their homework.
and it wasn't
They're
being
still
done.
not.
It's never done. So the bigger motivation was in about a year ago, Hurricane Helene visited us and left us with a mess in our house. And 60 days before that, Melissa and I were traveling, and we decided we've hated to do it, but we were going to move. We live on the water, and it was just getting too much. My elbows hurt from lifting sandbags.
Yeah.
And we didn't even talk about the 17 steps that I carried my groceries up the stairs from Costco. And believe me, that's not a light bundle.
No.
And it's not a single bundle.
project.
It's multiple bundles. So it was like, okay, well, what did we go through? And the other thing.
And you have to practice what you preach.
True. And I'm so proud of that. So on that 60-day journey back from our summer vacation, we stopped at homes to visit people. We visited an older couple in Cleveland, and we stopped in Vermont and Massachusetts, and visited my brother on Long Island, and we've stopped and saw some people in Maryland or Virginia, and then North Carolina. And at the corner of my eye, or as my investigative head on my shoulders, was,
Right.
What are these people doing in their homes? What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? Don't be so judgmental, but kind of.
How can I help?
Yeah, analyze. Oh, there's an 80-year-old guy, and he's got wooden stairs going up to his office upstairs, and he's got this really great life. But it's like, when will that end, and how will that end?
And he has no banister.
And how is, hopefully that doesn't end badly. And how is it that these friends of ours moved from Clearwater to Chapel Hill to be with their family and grandkids, and they're working harder than many employees and getting up really early in the morning to schlep children around and substitute, and and so it was, how do we set ourselves up for when we're ready to move? And then the hurricane hit. So that was a big motivation. And I processed the information I learned and observed as a physician and what we were doing in life and what we would like to do as our life evolves and finding the right place.
Yeah.
And that's what we set out to do. And then I wrote about it.
That's so fabulous.
Did you find the right place to move?
Well, I have a few answers. You'd have to read the book, but no, I'm just kidding.
There's nothing
Yes,
in it.
yes, we
They
did.
look happy.
We did,
Did you?
and we were methodical about it. We looked at single family homes and we looked at condos and we looked
Right.
at up here and up there. And by the way, spoiler alert, but you mentioned what became the main focus of where we were choosing to live. And it was about socialization and relationships.
Yeah.
And that we could move to Chapel Hill, but we don't have any connection to the community.
Right.
Here, we have a connection to our synagogue, to charitable organizations, and you and Lynn, and 20 of our friends who are generally much older than us or older than us. But we have this community, and
Yeah.
we didn't want to give it up. It was just that important to us.
Well,
to
part
do
of your
that.
heart was there. Part of your heart was there. These are people that you've known for a long time. This is a place that's familiar with you. I find it so sad when sometimes somebody decides they need to move their loved one out of their house. And maybe they bring them from Florida to Ohio. Or maybe they bring them just 2 towns away in an adult community or whatever. But no conversation has ever been had.
It happened in my practice all the time. And there's a gentleman I wrote about in my book, and he became a patient early in my practice.
It's great when you have the stories because it's right here.
And he would come in every time and say, the worst mistake I ever made was moving to Florida. Oh, the worst mistake of my life. Every time. His wife would come in and she says, oh, I'm so happy here. Here's some cookies I baked for the holidays. And she would give me a box of cookies and 5
nice.
date nut breads and
Yeah.
this and that zucchini breads and prune, but whatever. But she was happy. He was miserable. He was miserable until the day he died. And I don't think they had the kind of conversation and realized what they were getting into in their move. And the other thing you mentioned.
Well, sometimes you think if you're with a partner for a long time, right? Oh, they just know what I want, right? Oh, we'll definitely be on the same page.
Well, your husband wanted to move here. You didn't.
No, I didn't, but it worked for me. But
Well, because anything would work for you.
and that's true, but
I was much younger.
Younger than now. Anyway.
Yes.
good. And then the sad ones. And then the sad ones are when someone has made no plans at all,
Right.
and they are in a hospital and they can't go home.
Yeah.
They broke their hip. They
Yeah.
had a compression fracture in the
Yeah.
spine. There's stairs. there's
Don't even know
upstairs.
what rehab to go to.
They're just in a dither. They're lost. And my book is like, think about it, figure out your why, and go for it.
I think we have to think about just what aging is. Okay, we get to the point where we're aging. We're not going to be able to do everything that we did before. But I want to align myself up to do as much as I can by myself. I had my bathroom remodeled last year. Had the tub taken out, the walk-in. I have a bench that's so high because I'm a tall girl. You have a
toilet that
I
tall.
have a tall toilet with a bidet. Because you know what? I can take care of myself now, but there may be a day I need that bidet. There may be a day and I want to be able to, and I'll tell you, when the guys came to measure up the places, I was taking out a wall. I said, just make sure it's big enough that I can fit my walker in there. And the guy looks at me and I said, I don't have a walker yet, but I may one day. And if I do, it's going to be a big Cadillac walker. So make sure it can fit in there. But I want to be able to take care of myself.
It's all that preventive approach.
Yeah.
It's planning.
You do
for the
that when you
future.
have kids. You do that when you buy a house. You do that when your kids get older. You prepare for them to go to college. What about preparing for us?
Got to do it.
Yeah.
And it's frightening for some people, or they don't communicate with their spouse as well, or their family. And, it brings up another thing that my wife, Melissa, and I have done. It melds with this a little bit because it's talking about the finances and
Mhm.
having a trust. But we have what we call our family meeting, and we talk to our children once a year
I love
about
that.
our finances,
Yeah.
We talked to them about our health, and we would talk to them about moving. And we didn't go into it as much details with them, but they know we were talking, and we communicated, and there was openness in that. We did find, to a bit of my surprise, that our children were a little bit more worried about where we were living relative to the storms than we thought.
Yeah.
And
it was tough, those 2 storms.
They didn't bring it up, but after we moved, they said we were starting to get a little concerned because there was a lot of cleanup, and the storm, the emotional part of it was about, there just was so much, but we didn't lose that much. We were in a stilt home, and we were lucky. But there were
Compared to
people
some
across
people.
the street were
Some
not
people are
that
still
lucky.
not in their places yet.
Correct.
A year later.
Yeah, and that's really sad. And I have to understand that it doesn't matter how much planning you did. If you lived across the street from me, you were in bad shape.
Yeah. But we still need to think about our future.
Sure.
And where we're going to live, and where we feel safe. Where we feel safe. You know, I live in a townhome. There's a lot of concrete around it. I feel very safe there. I don't feel like anything's going to blow away or anything. And so I feel that I can live there for the rest of my life, whatever it is. But I planned this, and I've thought about this. And I think that's what we all need to think about. We don't have these conversations where we're like, oh, it's so uncomfortable. Oh, it makes me feel bad. Well, I don't care if it makes you feel bad. You need to have those conversations. And you need to think every year, okay, so maybe your caregiver plan is, if something happens to me, my sister Mary is going to step in for my husband, or whoever it is. Well, maybe Mary could do it last year. Maybe Mary can't do it this year. So we need to look at our caregiver plan, our future plan, and say, what's working? We just can't ignore it. Because if we do, then the worst things happen.
Sure. And they do.
Yeah.
And other people will make decisions for that person.
Yeah, and I don't want anybody making my decisions.
You would have a stranger social worker in the hospital make a decision about where you're going. And that doesn't work well.
We all have choices now, and you can make your choices, and you can make your preparations. First thing I'm going to tell you is go see an elder care attorney, because you need your papers in order. You know that more than anything, Doc.
Sure.
How many times people, I'm sure, came into your office and didn't have their papers in order?
In terms of having a living will, we got that, but not a lot of the other stuff was
Your
done.
healthcare surrogate, your POA. You know, my granddaughter recently gave birth to my second great grandchild. And I said, usually I buy a big thing, the carriage, they don't even have carriages anymore. The stroller, the $500 car seat, whatever. And I said, no, I'm paying for you to go to an elder care attorney, or just an attorney. You have 2 children now, you own a house now. And they're like, thank you. Because if they save up $500, they get a new window for the house. They're not going to the attorney. But I think it's so important.
Absolutely. And the people that I had that screwed it up badly made it a disaster for everybody.
Yeah.
And
mostly themselves.
There's one patient in particular who left. It was a second marriage, and he left his home to his son, and he died before his second wife, and she basically got evicted. And the planning was horrible.
Yeah.
And he was feeling it, and she was feeling it, and they were very uncomfortable with, and I was very uncomfortable listening to it and thinking, didn't have to be this way.
Right here. Yeah.
Didn't have to be this way.
Yeah.
And so planning and prevention.
Have the conversations. Like you said, once a year. I have another family that they meet on New Year's Day every year, and they all wear black. And they go, all right, we're going to talk about what has changed from last year to this year. And they make a joke about it, but they have the conversation. And if they need to make some changes, they make those changes. And they're all together. So if I need to change this, Mary, you know that I changed this for Sue, or that this is the person that's going to be this. And I think it solves so many problems. And you get to make the decisions about what you want.
And in addition, sharing that with your healthcare professional.
Yes.
Because some of this, a component of it is a medical condition, because remember, the things that you've seen as a caregiver,
Yeah.
those things create a lot of stress. And you can avoid that stress, anxiety, and depression associated with the fact that you've prepared things in a way that you know what's going to happen. And you've shared it with your doctor and gotten advice from your physician about how you're going to do that. I also...
Okay. How many physicians have the time to listen to me?
I saw that expression coming over your
Yeah,
face.
I just kind of like...
I knew that was coming.
My doc's pretty good, and she'd probably listen to some stuff, but like, you've always had that kind of bedside manner, that's what you call it, where, you know, you had that relationships with your patients, but a lot of people don't today.
You're
Sad
right.
to say.
You're right. I hate to admit that physicians won't, and I think physicians or there are other health professionals in the office. There are physician extenders,
Yep.
PAs, and nurse practitioners who are allotted a bit more time.
Sometimes it's just the office manager
And it's
who knows the references.
Yeah, that can make sure that someone taps the doctor on the shoulder and say, "Doc, you know, they're thinking that they have to move or there's something going on." Spend a few extra minutes and ask them about what their plans are. And sometimes when I would ask that, my jaw would drop like, wow, I've never thought about the fact
Yeah.
that you have bad arthritis and you can barely walk and you're in a double wide with your wife whose dementia is really significant.
Right.
And what are you going to do? And he had an answer. He said, I only have enough money for one. He said, between us, we could stay in this double wide and I could stay up with her at night and do all these things. But if she goes to memory care, that uses up all our Social Security. We have no savings. And that will become the medical emergency
Yeah.
when it happens. But he's holding off. But we had the conversation. Thank you very much for bringing it up, because physicians can be backed into a corner and say, Doc, I need your help.
Yeah.
I'm really having this problem, and how are we going to manage this?
But so two things I want to say. You being the doctor that you are, you know references. You could say, I can refer you to the PACE program, or I can refer you to that, or I can give you some different references. So that's the kind of doctor you want to be with. If you go in to see your doctor and your doctor's not answering your questions, you need to find another doctor. I think it's such an important thing. Sometimes when you go in and you're talking to your doctor and like they're saying so much stuff and like you're so confused. I remember when I went in and the doctor said my mother had cancer. I didn't hear one word he said after that. So bring someone with you or bring a tape recorder. And if the doctor says he doesn't want to be tape recorded, that's not the doctor you want to be with.
Agree 100% with everything you said.
Well, now it's time to hear from our wonderful partners, because you know the deal. If you don't hear from them, you don't hear from me. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Are you getting older, or are you taking care of somebody who is? You know, getting older creates new problems you probably never imagined. One of the big ones is, how do you pay for care? Care in your home, care in an assisted living facility, or care in a nursing home. Did you know that nursing home care in our community can cost up to $12,000 per month? For the last 33 years, our office has helped families access benefits, including Medicaid, VA, and PACE, to help pay for the cost of long-term care. Regardless of what your assets are or what your income is, you can qualify for these benefits. Proper planning and guidance are absolutely necessary to avoid being wiped out. Let us help. If you are in care or heading in that direction, we can help solve that problem. Take action now to obtain benefits to pay for the cost of care. Here are the 4 things that you need to do. 1, get a new power of attorney. Your old one probably isn't good enough. Get a healthcare surrogate and a living will. 3, get an estate plan that will not disqualify you from benefits. And 4, get a plan to qualify for Medicaid, PACE, or VA benefits to pay for the long-term care costs. Call us today for a free consultation, 727-539-0181, or go to flmedicaid.com and download our free book on Medicaid and planning for long-term care. I'm Sean Scott. I'm here to help.
Guaranteed to make you laugh through your tears, Linda Burhan's book, Good Night and God Bless, is filled with humor and heartfelt inspiration to aid anyone facing the challenge of caring for a loved one at the end of life. Her story offers hope for human strength and understanding of weaknesses during a difficult time. Life doesn't normally prepare us to become a loved one's caregiver. When it happens, it's usually sudden. A diagnosis of an illness, age-related frailty, dementia, and life suddenly is anything but normal. And because we don't even know what we don't know, where do we turn to for help or guidance? In Connecting Caregivers, Answers to the Questions You Didn't Know You Needed to Ask, Linda offers information, education, and inspiration from her own experience and from experts whose advice, practical tools, and personal stories will empower and guide you. Make sure to add these inspiring books to your collection today. Available on Amazon.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we're back. So let's talk a little bit about geriatric care managers.
You know, at the end of our previous segment, we talked about the legal aspects and having a plan. But sometimes it's really difficult to get that together. And geriatric case managers or care managers are the ideal person.
Ideal.
There is a fee to use their service, and people deserve to get paid. So they're professionals, and they're the ones that have access to so many of the community resources and have.
Well, how much they're going to save you just because of the resources they know about?
Sure. It's worth its weight in gold.
Yeah.
And they're able to put a plan together. They're able to help people find the location that's best suited for where their move is. It may not be a high rise, or it may not be a place at the beach, and it may be an independent living arrangement on a CCRC where they could move from independent to assisted to memory care or nursing home, and they don't have to make that major move again. So those are the kind of resources that geriatric care managers can offer, and I highly recommend that. That's an important
because they know about the different communities. How many communities are there here? By us.
Pinellas County.
So many. Well, maybe I want to be on that high rise on the beach, but maybe I would like to be in that home where there's only 12 beds, where it's more like a home. You know, everybody has their different personalities. And that's why we need to have, another reason we need to have those conversations.
True.
Because I don't know. I have to think about it myself personally. Do I want to be in that little home, or do I want to be on the high rise? I think the high rise, but anyway.
Depends on your view.
Yeah, it depends on. I like the sound of the ocean. I like.
So funny story. Melissa and I had all these different places we visited, and we went to a high-rise condo, which was really expensive. And a friend of ours lived there, and it was lovely. And we went to see 2 or 3 units, and they said, "Look at that! You get a view out that window." I said, and they said, you know, on Saturdays and several days during the week, the cruise ships cruise by and you can see the cruise ships. And I said, but all the other days it's a phosphate factory between me and that boat. And I said, I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear that pickleball down right below there. Even if I'm on 14th floor, I can hear it. I have hearing aids. I don't hear that well. I'd still hear.
But you know what? There's other things you have to think about. So Lynn lived on San Key. And this beautiful, beautiful place on the 14th floor. But it was a project.
6th floor.
Oh, sorry. Was it 1400, the address?
Yes.
So I would go to visit her, but it was a project. I got to drive down Gulf Boulevard at 30 miles an hour, so it's going to take me a half hour to get there. And then I get in the parking lot, and it's going to, if I have stuff in the car, it's going to take me so long to get upstairs. So we need to think about all those different options, because you may think the view is really beautiful, but is anybody going to be able to come visit you?
That's
Are you going
why
to
I
be able to
moved
get your
out.
groceries in the house? Right?
That's why I moved out.
Yeah.
After my husband died, I was there. And then also, it was so pricey. You know, when you live on the beach, the assessments are terrible. Every couple of months, 2,000 for this, because everything rots on the beach.
Yeah. All right,
But
so
it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And you can remember it and see all those sunsets you keep in
Exactly.
your brain,
Yeah.
and you get them stored or stored on a piece of, on your iPhone, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah,
All right.
it was fabulous.
The other conversation we want to talk about the decluttering.
Wow. What a hot subject. And timely.
It kind of goes hand in hand with fall prevention almost.
Yes, because there are two things people don't want to talk about and don't want to deal with. But we talked over the years and currently about falls, but let's talk about decluttering. We all save things. There's a different generation. Our kids' generation don't seem to save much. They don't have those memories. They rather have experiences of going away than bringing back mugs and T-shirts and all that stuff. So we got a generation of us baby boomers, and that's who I usually address, my high school classmates and baby boomers.
Yes.
And so what have we done? Well, our parents went through the Depression and they didn't throw things out. And so we sort of saved things, and we saved pictures and albums, and we saved report cards because they did, and they passed that. We passed that mentality on to us. And I met a new friend of mine in Wisconsin, and he said he had 7 vaults of all this stuff that he had to get rid of, and that he was taught to save nails if they were bent, to get a ball peen hammer and straighten them out and put them in a little little jar. So it's like a mentality that our generation has, and so we have to train ourselves to divest ourselves of those objects, pictures and porcelain statues and awards and things that our children are only going to have to come to our house when we die and throw out, or come to our house when we have to move and fetch, about having those things to deal with. And so the process can begin early on, or you do it like in the 2 weeks before you're going to move and say, I got to get rid of this, got to get rid of that, make these trips to donation facilities, but starting early, maybe making that as routine as your family meeting. Say, anybody want these things? If not, we're taking them to the resale store.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of that. The hospice restore store for us was a project we really appreciated. We brought some things to Salvation Army, and we had our places.
Well, my stepmother's been taking pictures of things, and she texts it to us. Does anybody want this fabulous Christmas dish? and every now and then someone goes, yeah, I really want that. Or does anybody want this? Whatever kind of thing. So that's kind of cool.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
They'll start hating me and blocking my emails.
There you go.
But it's a whole process.
But they feel if they can deal with it now, they don't have to deal with it later. So they will answer your text.
I'm not sure. But
I just tell them, bring a dumpster, get rid of it. Oh, they don't want it, get rid of it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, with my kids, the biggest issue is going to be going through my written word, my journals, my diary. So now I have it down to like 3 drawers, because I have like diaries from when I was in 5th grade, and those would probably be the most interesting to them.
I think so.
But otherwise, that's about it.
But it's not easy.
No.
And we're making appropriate light of it because it is pretty funny, but it is something that people really struggle with. And
well, like I was saying to you during the break, my stepmother has 3 huge Ziploc bags filled with stirrers from the bars. When they used to go to a bar, you'd have a drink and they'd give you a stir. Oh, that would mean so much to her. Well, then maybe her and I need to sit down and talk about the stirrers, because when she passes away, you know where the stirrers are going to go.
Or people collect matchboxes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we've had
Corks.
but we don't smoke.
Yeah.
And how often do we actually need to light a match, especially when you got these things that are cigarette lighters that light our candles? We don't need those.
Yeah.
Or coasters or things that people save that clutter up drawers.
Well, so much of it just means something to you. Doesn't mean something to them.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
But if you have a lot of matches, the bathroom's a good place for them.
Oh, that's a wise idea.
Lynn's a match girl in the bathroom.
Oh, okay, well, that's getting really personal.
Well, no, everybody has this spray in that.
Yeah, they're toxic.
Yeah, a lot of the sprays are
Light a match.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
So what's the recap we want our people to hear today?
Well, I think it starts with the word.
Well, where's the book?
Here's my book.
Okay.
Did you hold it up?
I got it now. You see it, everybody? Okay. So the name of the book is When It's Time to Move. Assessing the why, exploring the how. And looks like there's a ton of good information in here. It says on the back.
No, don't read what's on the back.
What? No, it's somebody else's. Linda Burhan says, I really think you should read this book. It has a lot of good information in it, and it's very warm and engaging.
Ditto from Lynn Thornley.
Yes, ditto from Lynn Thornley.
So prevention.
Yep.
Make a plan.
Yep.
Talk to your family.
Yep.
Engage your professionals, geriatric care managers, lawyers, medical professionals, people who can help you go through that process and do it successfully, because that's really important. You want a soft landing, not a hard landing.
Yeah.
Not the hard landing you had when you broke your hip and you lost control of your life and somebody took over. And worse yet, if you have none of that and you get a guardian appointed who's a total stranger, that's
And nobody wants that.
Nobody wants it. That's really unpleasant. So you have some control now, and you give it up if you haven't made.
You
those
have a
plans.
choice. You have a choice.
But
you need to make the choice.
And Melissa and I found a wonderful house in a lovely community. We're surrounded by people, adults who are our children's age, who have children, our grandchildren's age. And,
nice.
And every one of the people.
So it's lively.
Yeah. And every one of those people has a dog or two. So we see them walking around the community. Nowadays, everybody's working from home. So we'll see them during the course of the day. And we visited with them and met new people yesterday at the Turkey Trot in our community. And people were very welcome and opening and introducing themselves.
Nice.
We had these great conversations. So we have this lovely community with a
whole new
one-way street.
chapter.
And it's everything we really wanted. And
But
every
God
day we
forbid-
come home to our
But you
house.
planned.
We did.
You planned.
We did.
But what if God forbid, one of you is no longer here? Will the other person still want to be there?
That's a good question. And I think the answer is something Melissa says, my wife. She says, we have a 10-year plan.
Okay.
And we don't talk about it every 10 years. We probably talk about it every 2 weeks or every month that we say, no, everything's working well
Right now.
so far.
Yeah.
You know, we've been in a renovation project, so we have these things renovated. The hot tub's coming in next week or so. So we're
Nice.
going to be really set. And we know we're near the airport, our kids can visit, and we have it set up that way. We realize that there's a time 10 or 15 years from now, some of the things won't work out as well.
Right.
But we did put it on a first floor. We can walk in without
Yeah.
any steps to the garage. We have a bathroom that's really
You
accessible.
have grab bars everywhere.
The grab bars aren't in yet because
But they need to be everywhere.
But
Especially when you're going in from the garage. When you go in from the garage, you got that one step up. You need a grab bar there.
okay, we'll talk to Paul about that.
Yeah, I'm serious. It's a big deal.
But instructional design is also.
Yes, universal design is
Yeah.
what some people would buy a house that had universal design, but there aren't that many that are built that way. So you have to retrofit some of it, like
Yeah.
you did with your bathroom.
Yeah.
And we've structured our kitchen in a way that it's open and airy and easy for us to sit.
Well, talking about your kitchen, I know your wife is a fabulous cook.
How did you know?
So, tell us a little bit about her cookbooks. And she's not with us right at this moment.
Well, the title of my health and aging book was The Power of Five. So Melissa put together a recipe book of over 100 recipes
I love that.
that are healthy, and heart healthy and brain healthy and anti-inflammatory. Those are the things that help people live the longest. So it's mainly a plant-based recipe book, but Melissa puts her modifications in there. So there's modifications for beef and fish and chicken that could be added to any of those healthy plant-based recipes. I would say we 2 or 3 a week. I have my favorites. They come up regularly.
Yeah.
And if Melissa's going to be incapacitated, like when she had her cataracts done, she makes them ahead of time. So I get my lentil soup, I get my creamy African stew.
You get an Uber gift card from me.
Well, Melissa's going to have to
She's
figure
a
out
good
how she's
woman.
going to do
But
that.
I think that's really important. Our diet is a big issue with everything.
You lost a lot of weight on that, didn't you?
I controlled my blood sugars, my cholesterol, and I'm working on my weight even more. Maybe a subject for another talk, but increasing protein intake for older adults is really important.
Yeah. So how much? Like how much? Because that's what everybody keeps telling me. Do your protein. So I try to do the protein shake in the morning, and I usually put like a raw egg in it. I forget that's a good way. Like no raw egg. I know somebody else told me I should put a hard-boiled egg in there.
Like 6 to 7 grams of protein.
Okay.
As much as you would think.
Well, you got to count. You don't have to count.
How many grams should you say per?
Everybody at this
pound?
table probably ought to take at least 100 grams a day.
100 grams.
Yeah, I always thought it was like 40 something.
No,
I thought it was
that
like
was the
70
RDA,
or-
recommended daily allowance. And that was recommended daily allowance or recommended daily allotment for a military person out in the military field who they didn't want to starve. So that was the least amount of protein. So that's how they got to about 40 grams.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring,
But
40 to 50, but
It's
no.
more. I do recommend strength training and weight training.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you need to feed your muscles. So it's got to be more than that. And then
You don't get as hungry with
as people-
protein, right?
correct. And as we age, we absorb it less and we need more.
Okay.
So that's how it kind of creeps up to roughly 100 for the people sitting at this table.
Wow.
Maybe a little bit less. You're much shorter and smaller than I am, but I got to be over 100, 110, maybe 140.
Wow.
And that's really difficult. And I do add creatine and a few other supplements, but creatine seems to have some.
So tell me about that.
It has a favorable effect on muscle repair. And if you push the dose up higher than 5 grams a day to 7.5 or 10, some of that crosses the blood-brain barrier. And I'm seeing reports about improved cognitive function.
Oh.
So anybody.
So creatine, does it come in a powder or pill?
It's a very light, fluffy powder.
So you could like add it to your coffee or something if you
Adding
wanted
it to your
to?
coffee is the best because when you heat it up, when it's warm, and it's served with caffeine, the absorption is better, something I've read recently. So that's kind of hot off the presses, but you can mix it with just water.
Yeah, I don't do caffeine because I might fly.
Oh, but
I have no caffeine in my diet.
But you could just mix it
I
up.
put in
with
my decaf tea.
Yeah, anything you want.
So creatine.
Creatine, it's really very available. Now, you didn't ask me, but I'll volunteer. Melissa and I are going away in the month of February.
Tell me about it.
And we're going to go out to the Far East, and we'll be gone for 7 weeks.
How cool is
7
that?
weeks? No, it's something like that, but it's more than a month. And it's a very light, feathery type white powder. And we're having a little discussion in the house how we're going to carry that with us on our trip.
In a snifter.
So-
Amazon doesn't deliver there?
That was like when I
It's a
came.
really good point. I was thinking of having it delivered to us in Singapore.
Yeah.
And because I don't want to fly with it, really.
Well,
I
tell me
don't
about the trip, though.
So we're going to fly to Singapore and stop in places like Thailand
Oh, wow.
and Vietnam and South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and end in a couple places in Japan. And we're really looking forward to all of it, but particularly Japan, where lifestyle is different than ours.
totally.
And the people are very friendly. And
Well, you go to
it's
foreign
very different.
countries, they don't eat all the garbage we eat here. They walk, they bike. I find so many times when I go to foreign countries, you don't see any fat people. You come to the United States,
Florida. Come to Florida and
I
Wisconsin.
know when I moved to Florida, I was shocked because it's so warm here. I figured people would be thin. I never saw so many big people.
Mm.
Well, this is God's waiting room, so there's a lot of chubbies here. I hate to say it.
We were out in Los Angeles last week, and I thought to myself, registered, there aren't any heavy people out here.
Really?
We got to the airport, and it was a 180-degree difference. I started seeing people were
Yeah, because
much
they were
less
from
healthy.
everywhere else.
But
Much less
LA,
healthy.
they don't walk even. Everything's driving there. Well, they're very conscious. You
Very
don't see any
conscious.
wrinkles either.
All right, Doc, what's the last thing you want our listeners to hear from you today?
I want people to go visit my website.
Which is?
It's called powerof5life.com. And
Power of number 5?
powerof5life.com.
Okay.
And look at all the blogs and things I've written, because I spent a lot of time doing that. They could peruse what books I'm selling. They could go to Amazon.com and look up all my books and find one that's appropriate for them, because I've written one for senior driving. I've written one on longevity. I've written one on reflections of how people age successfully.
Yeah.
And my wife and I produced a journal to follow along with one of my
I love
books,
journals.
and her 2 books, her regular cookbook is available, and one for caregivers.
Yeah.
Remember the caregiver
I love
cookbook that Melissa
Because I love
put
the
together?
caregiver cookbook because, Melissa even did some videos where your person who has cognitive impairment can actually cook with you. Like put on some soft music, use the right utensils, let them do what they can do. And it's like I always say, if I'm going to make the fruit salad, I can do it in 10 minutes. If mom's going to take me, it's going to take about a half hour. But who am I serving?
Yeah.
Who am I serving?
You're serving your mom.
So thank you so much for being with me,
It's been my
friend.
pleasure.
Time to hear from our wonderful partners, so don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today, or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week, so check them out.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
We believe the power of the human body and mind can do amazing things, and that tapping into that power, not just tricking it with a temporary disguise, is possible. Superpatch technology uses a special pattern and vibrotactile technology to help you go from feeling blah to hurrah. Now, once the Superpatch is in contact with your skin, it triggers a neutral response in the brainstem that helps you tackle your daily problems head on. Whether you're struggling with pain, balance, stress, or focus, we have a solution that might be right for you. With Superpatch's 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Hi, this is Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. I started using the Liberty Patch over 3 years ago. I used to be a tripper, but since wearing the Liberty Patch, I haven't tripped once. The Liberty Patch is proven to reduce the risk of falling by up to 8 times. And as we all know, if you prevent the fall, you prevent the call. Don't wait until it's too late. Preventative solutions are the answer.
Superpatch does not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure illness. Superpatch is FDA registered. To receive 25% off your first order, go to sticktoit.info. That's sticktoit.info and learn more.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Oh my God, I got to tell you how much I love those super patches. The other day I went over to a woman's house and she said her husband was really having problems with mobility. And when I got in there, she said, I need to take him to the eye doctor because his vision is blurry, but I'm afraid to take him because I'm afraid he's going to fall. So I patched them with the Liberty patch, and about 5 minutes, he got up and he walked to the bathroom without his walker. And then he came back and he sat down on the couch and said his vision wasn't blurry anymore. So there are many solutions and they're drug-free. So think about that. So I'm glad we had a great show today. Dr. Bernstein is always an interesting guest.
Yeah.
There's some things coming up on December 4th. In fact, I will be one of the volunteers here, and it's called The Gift of Hope. And it's December 4th at the Enoch Davis Center. So we're going to give out more than 200 pairs of shoes to seniors. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're interested, you need to go to SamaritansFeet.org/BLS. And you can register yourself for a free pair of shoes because, you know what, I know there are some seniors that are choosing between good footwear and medication or food or whatever. And we don't want that to happen. We want everybody to have a good pair of shoes where they feel comfortable and they can walk comfortably. So tune in next week. We're so glad you were here. Tune in next week for another great show. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.